I used to teach people how to trade the Forex markets using smart money concepts.
That is a very, very popular thing.
More than 5 years now. Till this day, I don't think that I have actually fully managed how to master my emotions. It's something that's incredibly, incredibly difficult.
Personally, I target 5 to 10% weekly.
When you first got the robot, how easy or how difficult was it?
That seems to be my best zones, and I'll stop trading once I hit that, even if I go, I can make more.
I see robot trading as a way, and Forex trading in general, as a way to kind of just compound what you already have.
I like to keep that very safe, just to kind of like beat inflation. It's kind of like keeping it in a bank account for me.
Without giving us like an exact number, like your trading accounts, how much kind of capital, just the average amount of capital that is in those trading accounts?
In my kind of safe savings account, I have.
What is going on, guys? Hopefully every single one of you is keeping well. Today, guys, we have a different type of video, and in fact, we have a very, very special guest. Today, I've got with me Kai, one of actually our oldest members in the QTS team, and he's had some amazing, amazing success using the QTS robot. He started first and foremost off in his manual journey, and eventually then going into automated trading. And through automated trading, he made an insane amount of money, especially for a pretty young guy. So I don't want to give you guys too much of an explanation about Kai. I'm going to leave that to him. So Kai, first and foremost, I'll let you introduce yourself, your name, what you used to do before you went into trading, and we'll take it from there.
Okay. I'm Kai. I'm from Australia. I've lived there my whole life. I used to work in a fish market, and that was definitely hard work. Smelling like fish, coming home every day. It's not nice.
100%. And when you used to work in the fish market, is that when you first actually got introduced into Forex trading, or what caused you to actually leave the fish market job in general? What caused you to go into like the entrepreneurship, trying to make money type of scene?
Yeah. So I was working in the fish market around 10 hours a day, and I was still finding time in my nights to be able to study trading and stuff like that. And that's where I started to find, Moed and the YouTube channels and stuff like that he was running, and that's where I was learning a lot of my education from.
Very nice. And when did you leave the fish market? When did you leave that job?
I left the fish market as soon as I started to find a bit of an edge with manual trading.
Nice. And how did you come across Forex trading in general?
I came across Forex trading originally on YouTube, just scrolling through when I was doing some research on Bitcoin and stuff. And that's when I learned there was more to just like stocks and investing and stuff. There was actually other sides to it, yeah.
And the funny thing is, most entrepreneurs, before they hit their kind of like jackpot industry, they go into many different industries. For example, before I went into Forex trading, I went into graphic design. I went into being a virtual assistant. I was doing like jobs on Fiverr. It was actually pretty crazy. Was that the same for you, or did you just get very, very lucky and just land straight on Forex straight away?
I actually started in Bitcoin mining, which was quite a process. Yeah. So a lot of computers and algorithms and stuff, like trying to mine Bitcoin and stuff. Yeah.
And did you make money from that?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I made break even on that.
Okay. Not bad. And of course, moving a little bit forward past that, you said that you found me on YouTube. How did that go?
Yeah. So I was going through YouTube, and I was just checking out some mining stuff, a lot of investing videos, and that's when I scrolled past your page. Yeah. So I started watching some videos through you, learning a bit more about Forex, and you're very detailed and all that stuff. And yeah.
And was I the first person that you came across? Like, was I the introduction to the Forex scene, or kind of did you know more about it and then kind of just stumbled upon me accidentally then, or how was it?
Yeah, I actually learned through some more like scammy kind of people first.
Right.
And that's when I ran into you, and I was like, this guy knows his stuff. He's actually making money from it. Like, he's doing it.
Interesting. And for the people, a lot of you guys obviously already know this, but for the people that don't know what I used to do, I used to teach people how to trade the Forex markets using smart money concepts. Smart money concepts back in the time when I actually started teaching it was not very popular, in fact. And then a lot of people started teaching it, and it became very, very popular. And then ICT was always around, but then the split came, and it was just like massive drama in the industry back at that time. But a lot of people did very, very well with it. And then I believe that smart money trading and ICT trading just became so difficult. It was like there's some sort of algorithm shift. I don't think it's true, but something definitely changed in the markets where it became very, very difficult. Was that kind of like the same experience for you, or?
Yeah. There was a lot of different. There was like smart money concepts, and then there was like a lot of other concepts. And what really triggered me was the order flow you used to have. It was very interesting. I was like, this is definitely another side to the markets that most people on YouTube don't actually show you.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, you've obviously, I remember you were in one of my order flow mentorships. For the people that don't know what order flow is a tool that helps you actually see the order flow of the orders coming into the market in the futures market. And based off of that, because the futures market was very highly correlated to the Forex market, you're able to make decisions based off of that. So that was actually a pretty advanced way to trade that most people back in the days did not know how to trade and use. And we used to mix it with smart money concepts and ICT. And it used to be an absolutely killer strategy. But I think me and you can agree that the biggest problem with that manual trading strategy in general was that we were taking trades on the 1 minute time frame. We were spending hours upon hours every single day on the charts trying to find that one trade, and I think it was pretty difficult, don't you think?
Yeah, it was a very time consuming process, and we were indoors a lot.
Yeah, indoors a lot. I mean, it was funny enough because at that point of my life, I cut off like so much people, like I cut off so much friends, and it wasn't necessarily that I just cut them off because I wanted to. It just kind of happened because you don't get in contact with them. And I personally don't think, the money that I made at that time was actually worth the time that I put in. Yes, I was profitable. Yes, I made money, but was it worth everything that I lost? There was points where I wasn't even going to the gym. And the funny thing is, gym for me is like pure discipline in life. Like I do not sway. Like I have to go to the gym regardless of what happens. And it got to the point where I was not hitting the gym. As people know as well, I fight as well, Muay Thai. So I stopped Muay Thai for a very, very long time, and my life just became Forex trading. It's pretty bad. It was not the best time of my life, which actually led me to eventually going on to automate trading, which we'll get into that a little bit. And when you were trading manually as well, were you finding profitability? Or
honestly, not too often. Like I'd go through my periods where I would have good trades, and like just sometimes the mental health and stuff would just kind of set off trading a lot. Yeah. So like sometimes I'd just be having a bad day. I'd try and take a trade and I'd just lose it. It was a very difficult process trying to manage your emotions like throughout life, which then implement in trading. So your day to day somehow affects your trading, which was a very difficult thing to try and manage.
And do you think that is actually the biggest problem for manual traders in general? Do you think it's a psychology aspect?
100%. The concepts are easy to learn, but it's actually managing and controlling your own emotions that control your profitability and your consistency in trading.
And here's an interesting question that I like to ask traders a lot in general. Do you believe that a trader can fully get full control of their emotions? Do you think you can finally master your emotions and you don't run into those emotional problems?
Honestly, no. I truly don't think that's possible at all. We're not robots. We are human creatures, and we always will have emotions, no matter how well trained they are. Like obviously you can train your emotions extremely well, which you get to at a certain point, but they're always there. They're never fully gone. So you always have your doubt, you always have your greed, you always have those kind of emotions that just linger around.
100%. It's funny you mentioned that, because if you take a look at like the biggest traders that were doing very, very well, all it took was just like one bad thing that happened in their life. Like their wife left them, something like a family debt situation, something that was just insane. And all it took was just boom, one mistake and one bad period, one bad day, one bad week, and everything just went down the drain. So honestly, like emotions, even though I've been trading for more than 5 years now, till this day, I don't think that I have actually fully managed how to master my emotions. It's something that's incredibly difficult. In fact, I remember when I was trading back in the days, manual trading, I used to, especially if I was holding like a swing trade during the night, I used to not be able to sleep, man. I used to stay up, and even if I like dozed off, I'd wake up back an hour and I'm checking my trade, etc. And all of this advice of people saying like risk less, whatever. If you're making full-time income from trading, then your emotions are 100% attached to it. That is the problem. The most successful people that I've usually found in manual trading and robot trading as well is that the Forex trading was not their main income. So they had multiple businesses. They were also selling courses. They were selling something on the side. They had a job, and then they were making like side income from Forex as well. I think that's the only profitable case in the Forex industry. Someone that's doing it full time, that has very, very little capital, it's like that's 0.01% of profitable people in the markets right now. But moving on, how did you then get into automated trading? Because obviously, you used to manual trade and then you went to automated trading. And I believe in automated trading is when you truly seen some insane success.
Yeah. So when I was actually learning from you, and I was in a few of your order flow groups and stuff like that, you started coming up with the ideas of, automated trading and stuff like that. And I was very skeptical upon it. Like,
yeah.
I was like,
as was I.
a robot that just makes money in the markets, like. So I was very skeptical of it, and I started seeing a lot of people making money from it in your group with some of the first algorithms you had.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I was like, you know what, maybe I'll give this a try.
Mm-hmm.
So I did, and I started learning more about it, started learning how it worked and stuff like that. And it was actually very, very good. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's where I've gotten to now.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just in the groups I was with you in, yeah.
Interesting. And let's break down the journey a little bit for you, right? When you first got the robot, how easy or how difficult was it? And we're not necessarily trying to speak just about the QTS robot here. We're just trying to speak about algorithmic trading in general, regardless of what robot that people end up buying or what people end up making. How hard is it to make that manual trading shift into algorithmic trading? Is there things that you have to change, or how's the change?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like setting it up and all that stuff, it was actually not the hardest process in the world, but I think because I came from manual trading,
Mm-hmm.
that I had quite an advantage with it, because obviously there still is a bit of emotion with algorithms and stuff like that, just letting it run and holding those trades during certain periods. I think my manual trading definitely helped that a lot, and my emotion management that I had to learn through that definitely helped, yeah.
Because I think a lot of people think that like moving from manual trading to automated trading, that the automated trading becomes like just one fix all solution where the emotions are all out the window, you'll never lose again, the strategy is perfect. But that's not true. I think more so it just makes and simplifies your manual trading a lot more. It's a lot more less time consuming. You don't have to deal with those emotional obstacles as much, because there's a separate entity that's trading out there for you, that's taking decisions on your behalf, executing the trades on your behalf, managing the trades on your behalf, exiting the trades on your behalf. But yeah, a lot of people do think that it doesn't do that whatsoever. I think it just makes life a lot easier, but there definitely is specific aspects that you still have to kind of get accustomed to. Still, like there is certain emotional aspects. For example, I think we can all agree on this, and I think we've seen a lot of people make this mistake before, is with automated trading, the potential to make money is so much easier, and the percentages are like so much higher, which I think we all know what that eventually ends up what it leads people to do. It's to over risk, is to run the robot 24/7, try and make as much money with the robot as possible. And I feel like that's a massive pit that people fall into, is that they see the robot performs a little bit well and they just kind of go all in.
Definitely. Like that is a very, very popular thing, especially when you go from making like 10% a night, stuff like that, and you keep trying to push further and further to the point where you're like making like 30% in one night. And it's just so unrealistic that it cannot sustain that long enough. And eventually you get to a point where you keep pushing it and you eventually just blow your account.
What do you think actually is a sustainable amount to be making?
Personally, I target 5 to 10% weekly. That seems to be my best zones, and I'll stop trading once I hit that. Even if I go, I can make more, I don't like to push it. Just 5 to 10% weekly, and that's all I like to stick with.
So a lot of people will come at you and they will say that you're taking a piss, you're lying. In the sense, not that you're lying that how much you're making, it's just that they believe that what you're doing is not sustainable, because most hedge funds out there and the best of the best traders make sometimes only, if maximum, 5% a month. So what do you say to those people? Like, how can you justify the profits that you actually make on a week-to-week basis? 5 to 10% seems insane.
Yeah. I mean, if I was managing $5 billion, I'd target 5% as well monthly.
Interesting, yeah.
Because I'm on personal accounts and a lot smaller amounts, like I just like to target, my 5 to 10%, and that seems to work just very well.
So it's essentially a risk to reward thing, I guess. It's just more so that those hedge funds are targeting so much. They have so much capital under their control that, well, they're just happy with 2 to 3%. It's not that they can't make the 10 15, 20%. It's just that they don't want to go through that much drawdown. Whereas I assume you have some sort of a plan where even if you go into 50% drawdown, that doesn't really hurt you that much, right?
Yeah, that doesn't really affect me. But imagine a 50% drawdown on like billions.
Yeah.
Like that's what they've got to deal with. So like for them to just target 5% monthly, they don't have anything like that.
And the crazy thing about it is, another thing is the hedge fund is managing their other people's money.
Yeah,
You're managing your own money. So at the end of the day, taking the risk of your own money is literally not as bad as taking the risk of other people's money. And here's the thing, right? A lot of people think that with robot trading, you can just create money out of nowhere, which has some sort of truth to it. But I see robot trading as a way, and Forex trading in general, as a way to kind of just compound what you already have. Right? And the thing about it is, in order to make serious returns with this technique of compounding what you already have, you need to have hundreds of thousands in capital. And if you don't, and you only have like 5K, 10K, then you need to take extraordinary amount of risk to actually make something that is sustainable, to make sustainable amounts of profit. And I think the best way to do that is to, first and foremost, have an insane strategy. You're going to have some insane drawdown, sometimes 30, 40, even 50%. But the beautiful thing is, if you can get pretty lucky at the start and make a decent amount of profits that covers your initial capital, you're eventually then left playing with just trading profits. And probably maybe a year's time and 2 years' time, you'll eventually blow that account. But the idea behind it is that you've made your money, right? A lot of people are struggling and they're just like, they're looking for so much sustainability. They're looking for very, very long-term growth. I totally understand. Most people want that. But if you're looking for those type of returns, then go into real estate, right? Go into very, very low-risk stocks. Go into something that's not that risky. You can't come in to shark waters and expect not to be bitten by the shark. There's the risk of you being bitten by the shark. If you don't want to be bitten by the shark, then go swim in a flipping swimming pool, right? Exactly. It's as simple as that. So on that note, guys, if you're interested in getting into automated trading and diversifying your investment portfolio, then we have a robot for you. Just look at the results that our current QTS members are making. These are busy professionals that don't have time sitting there every single day trying to learn the Forex markets and trying to actually be active on the charts to trade. So they've adopted automated trading systems instead. If you want the potential to apply to get in access to this robot, simply check the top link in the description for more information. Now back to the podcast. And it's funny because obviously you take an insane amount of risk, right? As we've already established, you make 5 to 10% every single week, which equals to about 20 to 40% every single month. What have your drawdown levels been on that type of gain?
Targeting 5 to 10% weekly. I only see drawdowns of around 12%. Like that's the maximum I've ever really had in that. Yeah,
pretty good.
So understanding that and going, look, I can sleep with 12% drawdown perfectly fine. So like obviously I can target more, but sleeping with larger amounts of drawdown, it's a very difficult thing to do.
And do you run the robot? Just established, by the way, you use the QTS 2.0 robot on these, right? You use the QTS robot. Cool. And when you run the QTS robot, do you run it on just like one account with all your money in it, or do you like diversify your capital? What's your kind of risk management strategy here, other than just the robot itself and risking low lots? What's your diversification plan here?
I actually have around three accounts, like equally spread out. So I do one account where I like to take a bit more risk on. I do another account I like to keep just managed perfectly fine, and I have one larger account which I actually send all my profits into, and that's just on a low compounding percentage. Yeah.
And how much do you aim for on that low compounding account?
I aim for only around 1 to 2% a week. That's all, because I like to keep that very safe, just to kind of like beat inflation. It's kind of like keeping it in a bank account for me.
Interesting, yeah. It's pretty smart, actually, yeah. And without giving us like an exact number, like your trading accounts, how much kind of capital, just the average amount of capital that is in those trading accounts, just so people can kind of understand what numbers we're playing with here.
Like my actual trading account size, like
like how much capital you have using that's being used currently on the robot.
Okay, so in my kind of safe savings account, I have over 100K in there.
Okay, nice. Nice.
And my other accounts are a bit smaller than that, yeah.
Okay, very nice, very nice. So you're trading about 6 figures in capital. And how do you feel having 6 figures in capital just on the line with this robot? Do you feel safe, be honest? Or is it more so a thing where like you know that there's massive risk to this and you could eventually blow it all. What's your kind of mindset game here? Because I know it's very difficult, and even, you know, for somebody that has like millions of dollars, even just having 100K in a Forex account, letting a separate entity do for you, it's pretty difficult to trust something like that, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. Like, I obviously have my risks sorted out, like have equity protectors, all those kind of things. So
Nice.
I know, like, worst case scenario, I can only lose like 20%. And that's honestly not the end of the world for me. So like that's absolute worst case scenario. And even then, like my personal savings account, that's fine. Like,
And with the amount that you're making anyways, all it takes is like 1 to 2 weeks to get back to break even, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And speaking about worst case scenarios, have you actually ever fell into like a worst case scenario before?
I have actually.
You have, yeah? And what was that like?
That was difficult. It was difficult, but I knew, like, you know, hit my equity drawdown. I knew it's going to be like 2-3 weeks.
Now, what was the reason for that? Why do you think, like, did you run it on days maybe you were supposed to run it, or was it, what was the reason that you took that massive loss? Or was it just like part of the game?
Honestly, like, it wasn't even the algorithm that did that.
Yeah?
That was me personally.
Also, it was a manual trade?
Yeah.
Oh, really, yeah? What
Yeah.
what type of manual trade was it then?
It was very rough prediction on gold. I was right in the end, but I didn't have enough equity in that account to sustain it.
You're a crazy guy. For the people that don't understand, and for the people that don't understand the time we're in right now, the elections, like, he took the trade like just before the elections. So you can only imagine how rough gold was at that time. So I guess that was a little bit of a lesson for you to let the trading for the robots instead of your own manual skills, right?
Yeah. The robots haven't actually failed me. It was mainly just personal failures that caused that.
Fair enough. And okay, we've looked at, I mean, your worst kind of experience with it. What was the biggest amount that you've made in a single day with trading? Because I think the viewers like love hearing about this stuff. This is things that it's not necessarily like for bragging or flexing. It's just really for inspiration on what you can really do. And obviously, we're not going to mention your age on this podcast, but from obviously people can tell that you are pretty young, and this is massive inspiration for everyone else out there, you know, that's getting into trading in general and getting into the Forex robot space in general. So what was the biggest day that you made in profits?
The biggest day I've done was around 5 figures. Like, it was over 15,000 I made in a day.
Amazing.
And that was right before I booked my tickets to Dubai.
Sick.
I was like, yeah,
Sick.
time to go.
Nice. And how did you actually feel about that? How did you feel making that much money?
Honestly, sometimes it feels like you're in a dream and you're about to wake up, because it feels like it's just like unrealistic sometimes. Like, you feel like, is this real? Did I actually do this? And it's only when you actually withdraw the money from your broker that you actually remember that's real. Yeah. Because for a lot of people, it's just numbers on the screen when it's in your broker. Exactly.
And I used to remember this. I remember one time, I was very young. I mean, this is when I first started. I was trading, just gambling, man. It was just like on my account, just gambling, whatever, putting in $1,000 in, just putting like 2-3 lots, like just maxing, trying to see if I can just like double, triple the account on one shot. And then I just lost 1K. And bro, I just sat there and I just took out like $1,000 in cash. Euros, not dollars. Why am I saying dollars? 1,000 euros in cash. And I looked and I just spread it. I was like, there's no way I'm losing this much, like just gambling away. And you get very, very numb to the amount of money that you make from Forex trading. And I think that's a big downside to it. It's kind of a good problem to have, but not at the same time. Because I do feel that people get very, very numb to the numbers. And you can get very, very careless with your money. Do you feel like you've run into something like that, you know, with your money? Since you're making so much money at such a young age, how do you manage kind of like staying humble and making sure that you still give the value to the money rather than just seeing it as random numbers on the screen and just being careless with it?
I mean, when I first was making some decent money from it, it was just numbers on a screen until I actually took some out and I actually purchased something. I was like, it actually provided me.
What did you purchase?
I bought a new motorbike. So.
A motorbike, sick. Yeah. Nice. So you're big into motorbikes and stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
And then I made another few withdrawals, and then I booked some tickets to Dubai, and I was like, hang on, it just paid for my trip to Dubai. It was just very unrealistic feeling. But when I actually withdrew it, and I was like, those numbers actually gave me this. It was, crazy.
Sick. Sick. And for somebody making so much money at a young age, we all know that a lot of distractions come, and you get exposed to many things in the world that other people at your age don't get exposed to. How do you keep yourself grounded? How do you keep yourself disciplined and staying on the grind and not getting lost in the party scene, the party life, just all them haram things? How do you keep yourself grounded and not falling through that route, and also keeping yourself humble? Because I think that we've all seen and we've all experienced it before. And when you start making a little bit of money, you go through that phase where you have a little bit of ego. I think everyone has went through it. You've went through it. I've went through it. And how did you kind of pull yourself back and humble yourself? Yo, I'm not shit. At the end of the day, that money is just money, right? I'm gonna go down into the mud, into my grave, and I'm not going to bring anything with me whatsoever. So how did you reel yourself back into humble?
I mean, a lot of it comes down to religious sides. Obviously in a lot of religions it tells you to be humble, otherwise you will get humbled. So it's definitely a big thing. And I found a lot of the times when I was excessively spending and just going a little bit wild, I did actually get knocked back into my place. So yeah, it definitely does remember me and remind me just to be humble.
So life teaches you.
Exactly. Exactly.
Definitely, man. I mean, 100%. I totally agree. And Kai, just going back a little bit to the robot. Let's say that the viewer is watching right now. He is about 5 to 10K in capital, and he just got a robot. What's the course of action? What would you advise him to do? The best way to maximize his capital, to make money as fast as possible. Obviously, understanding that's not a get rich quick scheme, but most people want to make money fast, right? So what's the best way to go about it?
Yeah, so I mean, if you've got 5K, I'd recommend what you do is you get an FTMO account, and you also set up a personal brokerage account. And I'd recommend trying to get a payout from the robot and actually move the profits that you got the payout from into your personal account, and keep just kind of siphoning from the prop firm into your personal broker, and obviously have it trade your broker as well. I think that's the best and the fastest way to make money from it. Now obviously you can get to a point where you can get a second prop firm and you can keep pulling the money in. That's a very, very good option.
Makes sense. And I mean, a lot of people also have the misconception that you can't use EAs on FTMO accounts. But the thing is, yes, you can. Now, you can use EAs on FTMO accounts. You can use EAs on prop firm accounts. In fact, a lot of people even say copy trading is the issue, etc. Guys, copy trading is not the issue. Copy trading is not the issue whatsoever. The issue that prop firms have is they don't want most people to use the same strategy. They want to diversify the strategies as much as possible, right? Because the reason being, let's say if one strategy gets very, very good and everyone is using that strategy, knowing that EAs can be very profitable, more profitable than manual trading, it can essentially make the prop firm go bust very, very quickly. Most people don't understand that prop firms are actually B-book, meaning that your trades do not get executed on live capital. It's a demo account. It is a simulation. So the only way that the prop firm make money is two ways. The prop firm make money by selling you the challenge, and they sell the data from your trading strategy. They sell that data to then hedge funds and bigger brokers, institutions, etc., that use that data to make more algos, and with those algos they deploy on live capital, and with that live capital then they're able to make money. So most people don't realize that. So the problem is, if most people are using the same strategy, they're not able to make money, because if the same strategy is profitable, well, they lose by paying people a lot. Also, if everyone's using the same strategy, they don't get that much data, and without much data they are not able to create those algos. So most people have that misconception. Now, do you think that trading with Forex robots, is it better on prop firm capital, or is it better on personal accounts?
I personally agree. It's much better on personal accounts. On personal accounts, I can take more than 5% drawdown, whereas if I was to do that on an FTMO, challenge is blown. So for me to be able to go through 10-15% drawdowns is perfectly fine on personal. But I mean, FTMOs, if you don't have much capital, that's definitely a very, very good way to go.
So let's say you had the 5K and people wanted to go the personal route. Do you think that's also good to just go the personal route with the 5K, or no? If you have 5K, just go to FTMO. Which one's runs better?
I'd recommend splitting it.
Explain it.
Yeah.
In what way?
So you get so if you got 5K, you spend 1K on an FTMO and you put the 4K into a trading account.
Okay.
right? So you have your algorithm manage the trading account and also the prop firm. You make money on the prop firm, it goes into your personal trading account, builds it and increases your personal side. That's definitely a very good way to go.
And at what point would you say to people like to scrap the FTMOs? At what kind of capital?
I think once you get over 10K capital,
Okay.
I think that's when you can completely eliminate prop firms.
Because I mean, if at 10K capital, if you can do 1 to 2K in profits every single month, that's like 10 to 20%, which with robots it's doable. And you will be risking a little bit higher than usual. I mean, if you just keep at 5% every single month, it's $500, which $500 once again is a lot of money. Like most people, I know like me and you, we might have kind of gotten numb to those numbers because we're just so used to like insane numbers and just doing 50, 60, 100K a month sometimes. But to most people, even $500, and honestly to me, I've learned to really appreciate even that $500 because I look at not necessarily the number, the size number, I look at what it can do for me. $500, man, can do so many things for you, right? It can pay for so many things. For some people, it's half their rent. And remember, $500 in different contexts is a lot bigger than other contexts. For example, $500 in the US, maybe not as big as $500 in Bali, for example, where the money is worth a lot more. So we've just gone so programmed to essentially disrespect money and not value money. Not realizing that, if I just have that 10K account and make $500, I can do so much with it, you know? And the problem is people look at, a lot of what they look at is they try and target the big numbers first. They want to like do what everyone does, how to make, if you take a look at YouTube, you see what a lot of people search up is how to make 10K a month, how to make 50K a month, how to make 100K a month. Why do people not first and foremost take a step by step and just figure out how to make an extra $500 every single month, an extra $1,000 every single month? And I guarantee you that if you just try to find the route to that, it's going to be a lot easier. You'll get it a lot faster, and the skills that you've built along the way to making an extra $500 every single month or $1,000 every single month will be duplicatable in order to make that 10 grand every single month, 20 grand, 30 grand every single month.
Yeah, you just have to step your way up. Like that's the easiest way to do it. First you start with $500 a month, then you get to $1,000, and you just keep stepping your way up and you keep finding new ways, new opportunities, like things like that. Yeah.
You know what the most insane thing actually is? If people traded like with Forex, with spot, which is why I recommend people just trade spot. Obviously spot's very difficult when you have very, very low capital, but if you have a large amount of capital, you trade spot, no leverage whatsoever, your lot sizes will be like let's just say you're using like 0.05 on 100K account. How much money could you make on that? You could easily do like an extra $200 every single day. You can do like an extra $200 every single day. Your risk is minimal. Like the chances of you blowing the account using the QTS robot, 100K personal capital using 0.05 in risk, the chances of you blowing that account is like 0.01%. So people can also go through that route as well, which is something that I'm starting to do myself. Is yes, I'm going to try and I also aim for like 20%, 30% even on my very, very small capital accounts, like 5K, 10K. I consider those small enough for what I have. Remember, everything is subjective to you, of course. And thankfully, I've already made my initial deposit on those. So even if I blow those accounts, I don't really mind. But my big accounts, I'm literally running spot, like literally just spot. And in that way, the chances of me blowing that account is minimal. And remember, as we said, what like an extra $200 a day. Do you know that like for my day-to-day expenses and like my bills or whatever, it's all completely like trading profits. Like all my businesses and investments, etc., that's also done. All my businesses and investments, etc., that's all like that all goes into investments and it all goes into just savings. And I don't spend anything from my profits whatsoever. Is your trading your main income, or do you like do other things on the side as well?
Yeah, trading is my main income.
Nice.
Like I obviously do like a lot of the same thing. Like a lot of my profits I'll move into solid assets. Like I definitely like things other than keeping it in the bank. I personally don't like that. So like when I make money through trading, I'll move it into either my separate account, or I'll actually move it into something that has value. So whether it be like silver or gold or something like that. Yeah.
And here's a little bit of a kind of a curveball question. And I just thought of this, and I think it's a pretty important question to ask. I'm new to Forex. Do I go the manual trading route first, learn about manual trading, then go into automated trading, or just go through automated trading and just speed up my process and don't go through the hassle of that route?
I mean, I'll tell you about what I did. I was learning manual trading for around 3 years. And during that time, it was just learning. No results, nothing. And even losing money. No results for 3 years. And I was in a loss. And then that's when I came across algorithms and stuff. And that's when I started actually making some decent money through there.
So you would recommend just go straight the algo route?
I would recommend the algo route. Like obviously manual trading did provide a lot of information that helps me understand it. Like helps me understand how the algorithms trade, stuff like that. So like if I was to straight jump into algorithm, I'd definitely watch videos on how the markets actually work. Like I'd still be trying to actually learn a lot about the markets whilst getting into algos, yeah.
I feel like most people would learn about the markets anyways through the algo systems as well. Like you can still kind of learn about the markets. You can still learn a little bit of manual trading alongside the algo route, but just getting into the algo route and just dealing with the algorithmic trading obstacles in general is something that just makes a lot more sense, because as we already established at the start, manual trading has its own obstacles, algo has its own obstacles. You will learn a couple of things from manual trading, but you just won't learn enough to make it worth learning this first in order to carry it over. So I personally also would recommend people just go straight into the automated route. And kind of to wrap things up a little bit, Kai, what's your plan going forward? Do you think that you will stick with trading, or what's your plan going forward? What are you going to do when you got a couple of $1 million from trading?
I mean, my plan going forward is to actually start a hedge fund.
Interesting.
And that's where we will target 5% monthly.
Very nice.
So that's my long-term plan. But for now, I'm going to keep sticking with just personal trading, and I'll look forward to in the future moving towards more hedge fund.
And just for the viewers' knowledge a little bit more, what's the difference between kind of retail algorithmic? Is it kind of like the same robots, or is it something like that's completely different? Because hedge fund is like some crazy word that people just kind of like hear about, but they don't really even know what a hedge fund does and how they do it. And so can you explain a little bit more about that?
I mean, a hedge fund is actually a lot more simple than you think. Like a hedge fund, they can be using the same systems as us, but just risking a lot less.
So you could use the QTS system and stuff for a hedge fund?
Exactly.
Interesting.
That's actually my plan.
Right.
Just put QTS on there.
Crazy.
That'd be it.
So now imagine we have like 100 different hedge funds and they're all using QTS. You just give them a crazy idea and you don't have your idea copyrighted. So
don't steal that. That's fine.
Amazing. So hedge fund, and then what will your life look like after that? You just going to continue with the Forex route, or are we eventually just going to retire and live off Gold Coast in Australia? And what's the plan then?
I mean, the plan is to definitely do something with my life that helps people, whether it be educating people, not even in Forex, just in other businesses as well. Just going, how can you beat inflation with stuff like that? It's like there's definitely a thing that not a lot of people think about. They think, oh, I'll just put my money in a bank account, it's fine. Like that's just not the case. So educating people on that. And then also, I don't think I can stay in Australia for too long.
Really, yeah? Where'd you plan on moving?
Honestly, like even like somewhere like Bali or even Dubai, like just a new country would be nice, yeah.
Interesting. Sounds amazing. I mean, I'm also considering Dubai, like a full move to Dubai as well. I think it's definitely an amazing place. A lot more better network in general. The weather here is like 10 times better, because obviously Ireland's a beautiful place and has great people and everything, and I've a lot of childhood friends there, etc. But it's just the environment doesn't allow me to grow that much. But anyways, that's besides the point. Kai, honestly, it's been a pleasure. Really appreciate you for sharing your story with the viewers. Guys, if you enjoyed it and you want to see more guests explaining a little bit more about their automated journeys and explaining a little bit more about their experiences with QTS in general, simply click the like button, follow, subscribe, whatever it is that you do on YouTube, and appreciate appreciate you guys for watching all the way through to the end. Take care. So on that note, guys, if you're interested in getting into automated trading and diversifying your investment portfolio, then we have a robot for you. Just look at the results that our current QTS members are making. These are busy professionals that don't have time sitting there every single day trying to learn the Forex markets and trying to actually be active on the charts to trade. So they've adopted automated trading systems instead. If you want the potential to apply to get in access to this robot, simply check the top link in the description for more information.